Well, thank you for joining me. The setting for this video is the deep jungle villages and remote trails of Eastern Laos, from where I just returned, home of the Ho Chi Minh Trail, whose cobblestone tracks still exist, nestled among the foreboding Annamite mountains which hug the Vietnamese border. These remote villages are defined by extreme poverty, poor roads, and a scarcity of adequate transportation, absence of adequate health care and job opportunity, and unexploded Vietnam War ordnance littering the landscape. The engineering marvel of the Ho Chi Minh Trail is huddled eerily within this isolated mountain landscape, much of the trail slowly disappearing, but the extreme economic conditions in eastern Laos have preserved to a significant degree the trail's unique features. Some of the trail has been turned into main roads, other parts are now overgrown and just a footpath. This illustration shows just how poor the villages are that run along the trail as it meanders and weaves through the most poverty-stricken areas of Laos. 23% of the population live below the national poverty line. The Vietnam War and its bombing of this landscape and the communist victory have left the countryside destitute. The Annamites are an inhospitable, forbidding range, with towering peaks running 2/3 the length of Vietnam, brimming with triple canopy jungle, leech-filled caves, steep limestone karst, sand dunes, mangrove swamps and rivers, freakish weather, deadly predators, and malaria infestation. And today it remains a harsh and mysterious place. The Ho Chi Minh Trail during the Vietnam War became a labyrinthine underworld of shadow and survival, a 16,000-kilometer web of paths, tracks, roads, depots, and waterways snaking through North Vietnam into the neighboring countries of Laos and Cambodia, shrouded in deliberate secrecy from the moment of its conception. The trail lay undeniably at the heart of the war and embodied the aspirations of communist North Vietnam. The trail's existence would not be officially disclosed to the American public until 1970, when Nixon was forced to confirm that the U.S. had, for years, been flying interdiction missions against it. In this video, along with my trail guides, Digby, Greenhalgh, and Chang, I'm going to take you with me on my latest trip to Eastern Laos and the Ho Chi Minh Trail to show you how the communist North Vietnamese devised ingeniously desperate means of survival in the face of aerial bombing. Decades later, the jungle floor still yields horrible remnants of the war, with abandoned war litter and clusters of unexploded ordnance. In this series of videos, you'll see hidden caves and military hideaways, extraordinary war litter, hidden trails, and massive bomb damage that remains, and the extreme poverty. Traveling the trail, one can better understand why the greatest killer was not American bombs, but disease. In the early days, as many as 10% of the communist porters died from malaria and other diseases as they pushed bicycles laden with ammunition and rice through the jungle. The magnitude of the U.S. bombing would be hard to comprehend until you see the impact upon the landscape. You have some idea of the destruction when you look at this drone shot. All of the terrain is pockmarked with bomb craters. The vegetation covers it up. This woman was digging for roots, trying to eke out a living from the refuse. Approaching my 30th trip into Laos, I sensed I still had not seen the less traveled, most hidden and remote parts of the trail, and my suspicions were confirmed when I came across Explore Indochina and its proprietor, Ho Chi Minh Trail expert and tour operator Digby Greenhalgh. Digby, who has lived in Vietnam for decades and speaks Vietnamese, had discovered such rare finds as petrol storage tanks deep in caves, underground Viet Minh headquarters, North Vietnamese wartime poems written on ledge walls, sound missile casings, and other extraordinary war treasures. He had located secret places on the trail I had only imagined, so I asked him to take me to see them myself. He agreed under one condition, that I not reveal the locations. So we took the journey together with his trusted aide, Chang, and now I'm going to show you that trip over a series of videos. It wasn't until the end of our week-long, very rugged and demanding excursion that I really understood his prohibition to keep these locations secret. During our remote journey, I suffered a fractured rib number 11 by the way, and across my back neck, a deep, knife-like cut from a jungle vine, and even encountered a man manacled. Well, you'll see the film. I had pulled 12 leeches from me during one small trek, and I had walked among unexploded ordnance, seen snakes, spiders, navigated local officials, all the while losing 7 pounds, about a pound per day, while staying drenched in sweat continually. It gave me a much greater appreciation of what American soldiers and airmen had to deal with during the war. So as we say in the West, don't try this at home. Only explore the trail with an experienced guide. You see, if secret locations were posted, every backpacker and Joe Dung the ragman would be headed there, and you won't find medical care there. There is so much for me to talk about concerning the trail and the war that I intend to pick a war theme to highlight and focus upon during each short video, this being the introductory video. May 1959 marked the beginning of what would be called the Ho Chi Minh Trail, when the North Vietnamese established Transportation Group 559. The term Ho Chi Minh Trail began to emerge within American military and intelligence discourse between 1959 and 1961, following the identification of infiltration routes maintained by Group 559 through Laos. By 1975, 2 years after the U.S. had left the war and when Hanoi conquered South Vietnam, Group 559 had fully developed and matured this trail, despite years of relentless U.S. bombing, into a very efficient overland invasion network south, containing a petroleum pipeline network with 113 pumping stations and multiple distribution stations, truck repair depots, medical stations, warehousing, and other critical infrastructure which pushed communist combat capability into South Vietnam. I'll show you that in another video. Digby Greenhalgh went in search of the 559 forward headquarters in Laos. He found Vietnamese sources and was able to narrow down the location to somewhere just northwest of deadly Sapon, at least located there in 1967 and 1968. Refining his search through Vietnamese sources and lots of motorbike saddle time on the trail, he eventually found the hidden headquarters. The jungle reclaims its land very quickly, and to take me to it, we had to literally hack our way through the jungle with a machete. As we neared the hidden bunker, headquarters dug into a near vertical ledge, there remained, under the triple canopy, a very narrow, no doubt well-worn path from its time, the earth pounded by 1,000 footsteps.
HQ.
Oh, much bigger. Oh shit, it's much bigger. Holy shit. Come in.
Wait.
Take your time. These things are probably holding up the roof. Now look down there.
Wow.
Oh shit. Don't drop your phone, Digby.
Wow. So hold and hold.
There remains much cobblestone on the trail, and to travel scores upon scores of miles of this remote hidden trail, I couldn't help but to marvel how in the world porters and others were able to break and cobble stone together so that it remains in such good shape today, almost like an enduring Roman road. The best cobblestone parts of the trail remain those areas closest to Vietnam, as it is the most remote. But progress is coming. Vietnamese engineering crews on behalf of the Lao government are tearing up sections of the old road to lay down asphalt. Digby spoke with one Vietnamese crew. They claimed to understand this was the old Ho Chi Minh Trail and said some original sections will remain. We shall see. War litter remains a permanent feature of the trail, so much so that there is an abundance of it if one keeps a sharp lookout for it and knows where to look. I even spotted an old Vietnamese war helmet laying among other war litter behind someone's home, and Kai purchased the helmet from the couple. There are specific types of war litter which I will get into in a future video, and the Lao became clever in making useful instruments from drop flares and other bombardments the U.S. dropped upon the landscape. Near Bon Laboy, one of the most heavily bombed places on Earth, we came across what I think was a Vietnamese 12.7 and 14.5 barrel. Both were rusting and simply laying in the yard of this family.
All right, we're in Bun La Boy village, which is on Route 20. We're only about 15 k's away from the Vietnamese border. We've come across this village, Bun La Boy, and found these. What are these? What are these for?
Well, based on my military experience, this is a 12.7 millimeter. It can be used as an anti-aircraft gun, and this is a 14.5 millimeter, definitely used as an anti-aircraft gun.
Because all up about, I believe about 24 jets were shot down just over this area. And the river behind us is one of the most heavily bombed places on the planet. So, you know, it was all guts and glory 50 years ago.
Oh, God. This illustration shows the extent of bombing in the Bon La Boy area. This is Panop village. It formed a bottleneck for North Vietnamese forces and was one of the most heavily bombed villages of the war. And while we visited, we heard distant bombs being cleared in the background. This man is 84. He told us about hiding in nearby caves during the war. The North Vietnamese gave the villagers about 1 kilogram of rice per 10 people per day. Not enough to subsist, so they foraged for leaves and roots in the forest. If U.S. planes saw smoke from cooking fires, they would drop bombs, the villagers said, sometimes swooping in low, sometimes from on high. Every hut utilizes the war remnants. Every water bucket and can is made from aluminum rocket canisters and flare tubes. The glue the U.S. government used to attach the instructions to the tubes, as well as the paper itself, must have been of very high quality, still attached to the buckets over 50 years later. Cluster bomb cases are used for ladders, house supports, and some aluminum is used for decorative purposes. The best estimate is that about 30% of the U.S. bombs fell to explode, hence the removal remains to this day.
So that is a cluster bomb, and where Kai is standing is another cluster bomb, and over near the motorbikes is another cluster bomb, and just over there is another cluster bomb.
It's a meter behind you.
Oh, and there's one behind me as well.
Every proper Lao needs an ashtray, of course. Digby found a local using this cluster bomb as an ashtray. Mortar rounds have been fashioned into cowbells.
When you were there.
Some equipment I cannot recognize, I just don't know what it is. Perhaps some of you Air Force personnel from the war know what it is and can leave a comment below.
When you were there.
Aircraft drop tanks have been fashioned into canoes. We found this one fully intact. They had not been cut in half for a canoe. However, the owner told us that a scrap dealer had made her an offer for the drop tank, and she is selling it for $800 US. Another relic from the Ho Chi Minh Trail will be gone. I especially delighted in the old Ho Chi Minh Trail trucks we found. They have been modified for local use. Among the war litter and debris, some igloo white sensors still can be found. These sensors launched as part of the U.S. Air Force Operation Commando Hunt. Beginning in November 1968, Operation Commando Hunt represented the most intensive and technologically ambitious aerial interdiction effort of the war, seeking to transform movement itself into a targetable signal. A lot of debris has been picked from the jungle, but much remains, and many Lao have lost life and limb pulling the debris from the jungle. You never know when you might step on one. During our trip, every day we heard the distant thud of UXO, or Unexploded Ordnance, clearing. USAID no longer operates in Laos, or about anywhere, I guess, but other international organizations do and continue to help with the clearing. Villages contain signs showing locals what the UXO looks like and the dangers of handling it. One boy came strolling up with a UXO in his hand to compare it to the chart, demonstrating he knew how to identify it. The last time Digby visited this village, this UXO was still fused, meaning it was very dangerous. But since then, the fuses have been removed and the kids play on it. I hear some distant chanting or talking. I went to see what it was.
Okay, she will show us.
Oh, it's here.
Sabadi.
Thank you. Good morning, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, thank you. Good morning, thank you. Good morning. Thank you.
Oh.
Good morning, thank you. The body is the body. The body is the body, the body.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Coming up in my next video, we were on the hunt for North Vietnamese caves that contain petroleum storage tanks. Here Kai engages the locals to determine possible locations. The local says there are 2 in the area. Digby and Kai had already found one, but suspected another was in the area. The North Vietnamese installation of petroleum pipelines and storage facilities in caves is a remarkable engineering marvel, which I will show you in the next video. You will be amazed with the massive tanks we found. The North Vietnamese also graced the caves with their poems, which we will show you and translate, and see how the local Lao used SAM missile casings. And I'm also going to show you a feature of the trail that you may be unaware of. The North Vietnamese in April 1971 began building secret K roads, or alternate roads, for daytime use to counter the AC-130, constructing them under existing old-growth forest canopy, making the road physically invisible from the air and immune to infrared detection from AC-130s. It seems to have worked, as there are a lack of bomb craters among these K roads. Until the next video, thank you very much for watching.